Hello and welcome to An Old Man Watches. And today I'm going to be talking about the 2001 film The Hole. And The Hole begins with a young woman, dirty and half catatonic, staggering out of the woods. We soon learn that this young woman is named Liz and that she is one of 4 private school kids from a British private school who have been missing for a couple of weeks. Where the 4 students have been, why were they there, what happened to them, where are the other 3, are of course all questions that the police want answered. Given Liz's condition, she's dehydrated, semi-coherent, distressed, they hand her over to a psychologist to try and uncover what has happened. And the efforts of this doctor to engage with Liz and elicit the story of what happened to the 4 students is the spine of this film. The Hole is a mystery thriller, and the discovery and resolution of what happened is kind of the whole point of the movie. And I think watching it unspoiled does contribute to the success of the film as a piece of entertainment. So I'm not going to say a lot more about the plot than that. Instead, let's talk about some of the features of the film. Before we do, though, take a moment to have a good look at the DVD cover that's on your screen, because it's about to change. Big difference, hey? So what's that about? Well, you see, Liz is played by Thora Birch, a talented actor who at the time was something of a hot prospect thanks to her performance in the film American Beauty. Now, if you've watched my video about that movie, you know that I've generally soured on it as a whole in the 20 years since its release, but I still think the performances, including Miss Birch's, are excellent. And she's very good in this too. Yet somehow, although she's obviously talented and has worked pretty consistently throughout the 2 decades since, her career has never quite delivered on that potential. She's never become the big star that it seemed like she was destined to be. Now, that may be entirely her choice. Maybe she's not really interested in being a big star and she prefers to work different kinds of roles to that. That's a perfectly valid choice. If she's happy with it, great. But it's interesting that it's happened. She spent most of the noughties appearing in low-budget thrillers and horror films, similar in genre to this movie, in fact, though generally of a significantly lower standard. For instance, she was in a particularly turgid and schlocky 2008 gore horror film called Train, which is basically Hostel on a train. On the other hand, largely unheralded in 2001, is the young woman playing the other female student among the 4 missing kids, Keira Knightley. Now, none of the original marketing for the film featured Miss Knightley, probably because her biggest role to that point was playing the fake Padme in Phantom Menace. But obviously she would go on to Bend It Like Beckham and Pirates of the Caribbean in the next couple of years. And as you can see above, or on screen, later marketing of the film definitely cashed in on her. This film definitely cashed in on her success. Success that was fully deserved, I note. It's just interesting that the different career trajectories of the 2 women, or at least it is to me. So yes, different trajectories for our main cast members. Speaking of the cast, a large part of the film's success is due, I think, to the quality of that casting. I've already mentioned that both, that Birch is really good in this film, Knightley is as well, as you might expect, and in fact, all of the cast is really strong. There are 6 main roles in the film, including the 2 women I've mentioned, and the actors in all 6 give good performances. In one case, I admit this fact only grudgingly, as the actor in question has subsequently become a COVID-denying, racism-spewing, homophobe and far-right pundit. I would certainly not watch a new production that cast him at this point, given his politics and the fact that that's basically endorsing them. But obviously, 20 years ago, that was still in the future. And the subsequent brain-eater antics of one actor certainly does not detract from the excellence of the casting work done by casting director Billy Hopkins, director Nick Ham, and whoever else. I'm sure they weren't the only 2. Whoever else was involved in the casting collectively. 22 years ago, you guys did a great job. This is a really good, talented cast who do a good job. It's a good crop of actors, and particularly for what was a relatively low-budget production. It cost about £4 million, which is less than $6 million US. So, not a big budget, quote unquote, film. Obviously, $6 million is a lot of money, but not for films, it's not. Finally, I do think I should mention that this is not a film for everybody. It's dark, it's grimy, it deals with the unpleasantness of hunger, thirst, and desperation. Not for nothing have comparisons been made to Lord of the Flies, even if the actual plots are nothing alike. Also, for those of you who like an upbeat ending where everything works out for the best in the end, well, without going into any details, this is not really that movie. The fates of the characters are not always those that you might want them to be. So that's a factor that may put off some audiences. It is also a movie with full frontal male nudity, as well as a brief topless scene from a young woman who I now realise was only 15 at the time the film was made. Not something I knew at the time. Her character is intended to be a year or two older than that, and generally actors playing teenagers are older than the roles they're in. Certainly all the other main high school roles in this film are played by actors who are over 18, in some cases well into their 20s. So in any case, there is male full frontal nudity, there is underage female nudity, and they are factors that might be an issue for some potential viewers, so I figure they're worth mentioning. But at the end of the day, if you don't mind that it's a bit grim, and you don't mind the nudity, which is non-sexual nudity, but there are some sexual scenes that don't have nudity. But if you don't mind those elements, I think this is quite a good thriller with a great cast of young, talented actors at the time. Obviously, it's 20 years ago. They're not young actors anymore. That's The Hole. Check it out if it sounds like your kind of thing. Next time, I'm going to talk about Puppet Master 6 through 9, because we've definitely reached the stage of the Puppet Master franchise where the movies do not deserve to get a whole video of their own. But that's next time. In the meantime, thanks for watching this one, and I hope you enjoyed it.